5 at 5. Educating. Empowering. Entertaining. We are the top 5.
Good evening, good evening. Happy Sunday to you guys. Happy Sunday.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Awesome to see all of you out there. Hoping that you're having an awesome Sunday. How are my ladies doing today? How was your week? How was the weekend or what's left of it? How are you guys doing?
I have a confession.
What's the confession?
I woke up at 3:00 today.
Woo!
In time to get dinner started and in time to get dressed for the show. So if that tells you anything, it means I had a fabulous weekend.
Snap on that. Hello, everyone.
Snap on that.
Our Vincentian flag. I see our American flag. So what I want you guys to do, I want you to like and share. And not only like and share, I want you to post your flags so we can see where you're repping from. We can hail your country out. We can see
Deborah.
all the viewers that are tuning in and where you're coming from. I see my aunt is there. Hi, Wendy.
Oh, I was going to tell you, somebody loves your hairstyle.
You know,
we're all loving that hairstyle today. Hey, Dion Fraser. Hey, Geraldine, my cousin from London. Thank you so much. I know it's late in London, and I appreciate you staying on and always supporting and watching everything I do. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Yes, we see Mo. Hey, Mo.
Hi, Veron.
Yes,
my cousin.
Yes, Jamaica, Georgia.
Beat that, Georgia Bryce. Hey, Georgia.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's share the flags. Let's see where you're tuning in from. Let's see your flag so we know.
Lacey J.
We want to see the globe.
Yes.
The world. So we have an amazing discussion set for you guys today, but we want to start with something fiery. Now, I know most of you saw this video in Queens, Brooklyn, New York, Queens, New York, where this jogger was jogging. And in the midst, hi, Yolandi! Hello! Hey. Yolandi's in the house.
Hey, guys.
Yolandi, we're sharing and we're representing, so they're posting their flags so we know where they're tuning in from, so we can, say hello to everyone. Grenada's in the house.
Okay.
My people. Oh, Canada's there, Yolandi.
Look, Canada.
Yes. So we're speaking on the lady that was just pelting bottles. Well, she was pelting a bottle behind the jogger who saw nothing coming. She was clueless to what was happening to her. So tell me, because I was a bit razzled, like, I can't beat that person.
Yeah.
Not do nothing.
Let me tell you, if it was me, I always said, if the Lord knows the reason why I don't get into these predicaments, the Lord knows, because you know what? I would be locked up. They would have had to cage me. I mean, I'm telling you, I would have pelted the bottle straight at her.
Yeah.
So definitely. God knows why I'm never in these situations. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes, me too, because I'm not a confrontational person, but this deserves a confrontation because the rage I would have, I'm minding my business, I'm going about my business, and you're pelting broken bottles behind me, I would have lost it. Lost it, totally lost it.
So would I.
I mean, when you say lost it, is it the the Grenadian? Like
Yeah, like I would lose it. I would be like losing it. I would be like the news would say the crazy lady from Grenada.
Feel you.
Did you all think it weird though that this woman just threw the bottle at this and she kept running?
Yeah, she has some pent up anger somewhere. I don't understand.
No, I mean the reaction. I'm not talking about the action of homegirl Karen. I'm talking about the reaction of our sister Deborah.
Yeah.
Because she just kept running. She just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Was it shock? Do you think for those that didn't see the video, she literally broke a bottle in this woman's back out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And our sister kept running.
Yeah.
That never surprised any of you, like.
Yeah, no, that shocked me. I was like, I looked at the video 3 times. I'm like, is she going? Like, aren't you turning back to cover in her face?
Aren't you turning back to drag her?
Yeah,
Right?
like, why are you still going? I'm like, why you still? I'm like this. Why you still turn around, slap her?
do something. I think it kind of caught her off guard a little bit because she got the hit and she was just like, "What?"
Lacey said she would shoot a bab. She can't. I don't even know what that means, but I know it means exactly like what I would have done to her.
Yeah.
Bab she can't. I would have bab she can't.
Lacey, so let me tell you, see, Lacey has to be Grenadian, okay? Lacey, put your flag next to your name because we know. Yeah, she called out the C word. That's going to tell you Lacey was going to give her the business, okay? Listen, going to give her the business.
And some people need the business. I'm sorry. I mean, hey, you want to be peaceful and like, oh, and be meek and no, some people just need the lash.
Mavis Joseph, the countryside girl from Grenada would come out. That woman should have been dragged from country to town. She tried that. I know that.
Exactly. Oh yeah. Yeah.
It would have been the flip script, right? Instead of her making the news, I would have made the news because then I would have had to, like get on her for that. But listen, there's a lot of crazy people out there, and we have to be, very cautious, and we have to always keep our guards up. Again, in split situations like that, like our girl, like you don't know what you're gonna do based on the situation. So try to stay safe out there and watch for the bottles. So in terms of bottles and the community and looking at what she was able to do in a community like Queens, where we have so much Caribbean people, all different walks of life. And for a community like this, now what does that say to us in terms of racism or, just pure ignorance? There's a lot of changes that need to be made on that. What you guys think on that?
I think generally there's a lot of with the time that we're living in now, with Trump being in position and his supporters are feeling very empowered. So as Black people, I think we have to prepare for more of this, because if he gets another 4 more years, I can see things getting pretty tight in the streets. I mean, we live in New York, and New York is a pretty much, we are known to be a little bit more liberal, more democratic, more, peaceful. Everybody has their place. Everybody can be who they want to be. But there's a lot of statistics out there that saying that there's a rise in racist attacks. And it's not only against Black people, it's against Jewish, it's against Asians, it's against everybody. All these things are at an all-time high because of the times that we're living in.
Absolutely. I hear what you're saying, and it sounds like policy change to me, Yolandi, in terms of consequences to the actions of those who think that they can go about doing these things and it's okay, and there's no consequence to that. I definitely hear policy change on that. But in terms of policy change, we see Bloomberg doing some rattling down in Florida in terms of bringing about a change. He invested $16 million, guys. $16 million. Okay. And side note, Bloomberg has it like that. He can,
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
he can actually do that. He's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's calling for a change in Florida to allow past offenders, prisoners who have served their time to be able to vote. So their voices can be heard. So the changes that that needs to get made. So Yolandi, I know we talked about that. I know you were passionate about that. You want to speak on your view on Bloomberg?
Well, I was just really happy to see that because I basically turned off the news after RBG died. I said, right now, I don't think I want to watch too much of CNN. I'm going to take a break from it. I'm kind of cleansing myself. But when I came across this on my phone, I felt really happy. This was like good news. This is somebody who really has the means, and he's actually doing something that's very tangible to make a difference. So, Bloomberg is a guy who's very low key. He's very monotone, but he gets things done. And I 100% support what he's doing, and I wish that more people with the ways and means to make big moves like this, I would hope that they would take note from some of the things that he's been doing to try and right the wrongs or to make a difference, at least level the playing ground so that more people have access to vote, which is a right in this country.
Absolutely.
I'm curious though, ladies. I live in the state of Florida, traditionally red state. And so I remember in 2018, I was one of the advocates who wanted, because prior to 2018, convicted felons could not vote if they had that felon on their record. And then in 2018, their voting rights were restored. And now the one of the requirement is you have to pay off all your fines. Right. How would we feel if it were not a Mike Bloomberg, but maybe a Mitch McConnell or somebody from that side of the aisle that had paid off all these fines? And I want to hear what my virtual world thinks. I want to hear what the Deion Frasers have to say, the Mo Franklins. I want to hear, how would we feel if the shoe were on the other foot? So we have a prominent Republican who pays off all these fines for these individuals. Do you think we would feel just as strongly? Because I think what Bloomberg's message is to these convicted or ex-felons is, now your responsibility is to vote Republican. I don't think it was a bipartisan gesture at all. So I'm curious to see what you ladies think and what our folks out there in our virtual world think about this gesture by Mayor Mike. Is he still mayor of New York? Mayor Mike Bloomberg.
No.
Is he still your mayor? He's no longer former Mayor Mike Bloomberg.
Yes, we have De Blasio.
De Blasio, right?
Yeah, Mayor De Blasio.
Well, you know what?
And I'm sorry, before you go, Landy. See, Mavis Joseph says, let's hope the change he's looking forward to don't turn around and bite him in the ass, because some people is just opportunists, right? So help me understand how you ladies would feel.
I think go ahead, Yolandi, since you were really
okay.
Go ahead.
I would just say that being that Mike Bloomberg is no longer, I don't know if he's still a Republican, but I do know that when we had the Democratic convention that he spoke on behalf of change for the country. So I don't think that he's on the Republican side of things anymore. I think at one point he tried to run as an independent, and then he tried to cast his vote in, and then they chose Biden. So he tried to get in on the game at the end part as a Democratic. I do think that it's a gesture that's kind of saying, it's just the same thing like when somebody pays for something for you, then they expect that you're gonna like be nicer to them in a kind of a way. But because he's not that attached to politics, like a Mitch McConnell, who's a staunch Republican, and he actually works for Donald Trump, I think people would look at that a little bit differently.
And I think I used the wrong person. I shouldn't have used the Mitch McConnell. He was just a low-hanging fruit. But, somebody on that side.
On that side of the fence. I think either way, anybody who takes up a charge to give other people the chance to, have the right to vote, I think that it would be, in my opinion, I would receive it as a goodwill gesture coming from either side.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I agree with you on that, because I mean, taking out the political point from that, if you have committed a crime and you did your time, I don't feel as though that's a right that should be taken away from you, because it seems as though, you know, not being able to vote would be like a double punishment, if you get what I'm saying. It's like, okay, you committed this crime, but for the rest of your life, after that sentence has been served, you're still paying for that crime. And they're taking away such a very strong opportunity for you to be a part of your community and to learn from your mistakes and to have that ability to make changes and to see change come about in your community or in your country. So I don't think that his agenda was 100% for them to, you know, have a favorite side to vote, or, you know, switch over from Republican or for Democrat. I think it's about bringing some type of awareness, right?
Yeah,
There's
I
a
agree.
lot of people that are not able to vote because they made a mistake.
And, you know, and I don't really understand, like, this is my personal opinion. I don't really understand why the government feels to take away that right, period. If, you know, if you are born here or not, you know, or have your citizenship here, I don't understand why would you take away the right to vote? Because obviously, I mean, it goes deeper when it comes to that. But if you like look at the numbers, like who's incarcerated, going off. Of
course,
it could show you like how if those people were able to vote, it would change elections drastically, right? So
yes,
to me,
agreed.
it's more so of what is their intention to say you cannot vote because you have this and this and that, or if you have been incarcerated. What is your intention? Because if you really care, I feel like for me as an American citizen, if I really care for this country, I want everyone to voice their opinion because everyone should have that right. I mean, take those consequences and other things, not voting. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
My personal.
Yeah. I too believe in everyone should have a second chance. And I like his initiative in giving the felons a second chance to vote. But I still kind of thinking like, what's the objective? You know, is it to sway votes for Biden?
Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Hermelyn. There has to be a political. There is. I'm sorry, ladies.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I like
Michael Bloomberg.
Even though it's political, and when you pay the fees, you really can't hold somebody hostage and say, "Okay, now I'm paying your fee. Vote either way."
No, I'm not saying that would be the case. I'm not saying that is the case. But if you pay my way, Landis said it earlier. You pay my way through college. You best believe when I get out, you know, you might dog.
You might.
That's the loyalty, right? That Wakanda.
Yes.
And
everyone's loyal.
Loyalty.
At the end of the day, politics is a dirty game, and as we see unfold, that there are no rules. Rules are meant to be broken, and at this point in time, this 2020 election is everything. So anything that anybody could do to make a difference or to sway or to do whatever, because either side is doing their due diligence to try and get people where they need them to be.
And I just want to, I want us to be sensitive, ladies, because he didn't give them their right to vote. Their right to vote was restored in 2018. What he did, because we have to be sensitive to our victims, right? Because if I were the victim of a crime and the law says you have to pay me some kind of restitution. So what happens is all these felons, if they had not paid their fines or restitutions or anything of that sort, they were not entitled to vote. So I don't want us to have this conversation about they should vote, not understanding victims' rights, right? Because there could be a victim watching us now going, oh, so are we just going to ignore the fact that I suffered or my family suffered or that I was robbed X amount of dollars and now this person just get all their constitutional rights restored? So I just want to make sure that we're sensitive. I want our victims to know that this is not a referendum on victims saying, you know what, they should be allowed to vote. This is more of, you know, we're talking about Bloomberg's motive and what he has done. So we're not ignoring or walking on the feelings or emotions of our victims.
I think
Very true.
we can definitely say that as a deeper topic we can get into in terms of taking away a person's right to vote, if that should be even an option set on the table, right? In terms of if you committed a crime and your right to vote was never an option that you can lose, and you had that ability to still vote, because when you come out, you're still a member of society. You're still going to be a tax paying person if you get a job. So if you have to come back out into the free world and work and do all the things and follow the laws as any other citizen, why can you not vote? So I think we can definitely go into depth with that. But I see a lot of our viewers are saying that they think, prisoners should have a right to vote. And
they do. Yeah. And they do now. So that's the good thing, is that overwhelmingly in 2018 here in the state of Florida, we sent the message. Their voting rights should be restored.
Yeah.
And remember, voting is a constitutional right. And we that was overwhelming. I lobbied, I advocated, I did everything I could to make sure on my little part, that was a yes on back in 2018.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So another thing, what's going on in our world? Hummelin. Oh my God. So not coming from a serious to but I'm just like, I'm seeing my girl, looking lovely. And I want to know, Hummelin, look, Deani, I'm copying from you. Hummelin, what's happening? What's happening, Hummelin?
Yes.
Oh my God, a lot is happening.
Give us the tea.
Yes.
Give us the tea, Hermelin.
Yes.
Get your cup, Victoria.
First, I want to thank you guys. You guys showed girl power this week. Deani, Colleen. I think Victoria, I don't know yet, but people were just sharing my event, and I was overwhelmed. I cried. I always ask God to be in a group of women that will support me in what I do, and I'm seeing it manifest right here on Top 5. So what is happening in my world is I am hosting my first virtual event, and it's Get Your Groove Back Relationship Summit. It's it's for women who left a toxic relationship and want to give it back into the dating scene, but they don't know where to start. So it's definitely a woman empowerment summit, and we have 4 dynamic speakers. They will be discussing wants versus needs. What does your potential mate likes? What your potential mate, not really he, but it could be he or she, likes or value you. You need to know that, because you don't want to be playing mind games. He just likes you and he's not investing in you. And then we have at the day 3, we have all 4 speakers answering your questions, all relationship questions. So I'm really super excited. This event is going to take place via Zoom, and the tickets are only $19.97 for all 3 days. And I will post the link in the comments. And I want you guys, ladies, to just come out and just let's have a good conversation. If you know me, you know I love healthy, strong relationships, and I want all my friends and family to have healthy, strong relationships as well. So that's what's going on in my world, Colleen.
I love it. I love it. I love it, and I can't wait to see how it turns out.
You're giving me the Bettina love, type. You're giving me the Bettina love type vibes, guys. Bettina love, and I just wanted to say what's happening in my world. Everything education, guys. Everything education. And I stumbled on this powerhouse called Bettina Love, who is calling her movement the abolition teaching. And she is just a phenomenal person to listen to, just to see. She's been on a lot of TED Talks. And the 2 topics that we spoke on prior, and for anyone that is just joining us, we talked on the lady in Queens pelting bottles. We spoke on Mike Bloomberg, bringing about a change and allowing voters to vote. And this powerhouse, Bettina Love, she wants us to change everything, dismantle the policies that are holding our schools and our students hostage to a system that is just, for me, I would say rigged, okay? Especially for my Black and brown children. So, homie, when you talk about, being a lover of love and just bringing about a different vibe, a different change, I'm within my Bettina Love type vibe right now. Just loving the change, loving the groove, the rhythm that she's going in order to bring an awareness to our parents, and not only parents, the community. So there's a big following, that she's leading, that brings about, encourages people in their communities. They have grants that they pay. If you want to bring about change, you want to encourage people to go out and vote, you want to, get things done in your community, there is a grant for that, guys. So when we come back, more hot stuff. We're going to be talking about Mia Mottley, the Prime Minister of Barbados, and her drive to get Barbados standing on her own 2 feet and off from under the monarchy. So we'll see you back. Everyone, come back. Let's talk about what Barbados is doing.
Do you emoji? I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Do you emoji? You should. Emoji, a brand new social media platform where you can social your way. With a simple and quick way to engage, meet new friends, and social the way you just love to. No annoying blocking or censorship. Check out emoji.com from your mobile or desktop PC. Emoji.com. Do you emoji? Well, you should. Log in now. Emoji.com. Do you emoji?
Emoji.com. Log in, sign up, and emoji.
Awesome. Welcome
Landy,
back.
what's in your cup? I'm gonna call you out. What's in that cup, Landy? Oh, cranberry juice. Okay, I can hear you though. Landy,
Cranberry's never alone,
She's never alone.
Cranberry is never alone.
Is it
So
true?
guys, we
Cranberry has a
are going
cousin.
to dive right into it, and we are going to view Mia Mottley's response to a reporter on her stance on getting Barbados to stand on her own 2 feet in terms of becoming a republic, and from the decades of rule under the monarchy. So,
Right. I believe that I have a duty towards young Barbadians so that they can grow up and believe that they can aspire to be the head of state of their country. I think that is the most natural aspiration for those countries that don't have a monarchy. And we've been talking about it for over 20 years, and we just believe that the time is right for us to bring together these things so that we can literally complete the process of independence.
Is this a decision that you wanted to take as a government before Charles became king?
Absolutely not. This has nothing to do with Prince Charles. This has nothing to do with Her Majesty. In fact, let me put it in context for you. We have an absolutely high regard for Her Majesty, and I have a very warm relationship with Prince Charles. I think he's been a man who's been ahead of his time with respect to the environment, with respect to his respect for architecture and urban renewal, with respect to his excellent work with young people, including in our own country. And I put on record that we are working with the Prince's Trust here with our young people, and that has absolutely nothing to do with whether we become a republic and have a Barbadian head of state. I think that all of us agree that in families, children leave. And when children leave and establish their own households, that does not in any way dissipate the love or the familial bonds.
What's significant about the statement that you made is that you cast the decision as leaving a colonial past behind. In the context of Black Lives Matter and the movement around the world, do you think there will be perhaps wider political pressure on other Caribbean governments to go the same way?
I think that in the same way for Barbadian people, it's a sovereign decision. It's a sovereign decision for other countries. In our own instance, we believe that the most natural thing is for you to have a head of state from your own country.
One last issue before I let you go. You've also said that you'll hold a referendum on gay marriage. For that next generation, should they be allowed to be gay in Barbados?
Sorry?
Should people in Barbados be allowed to be gay, to be homosexual?
Is that a question you would ask the United Kingdom?
Well, we have laws on gay marriage, and you're having a referendum on gay marriage, so it is pertinent.
I think that that is the most inappropriate question as to whether a person should be allowed to be gay. I think the question is, should we discriminate against people because they're gay? And we will not. And we're absolutely clear that Barbados became the first black slave society and a country that has known what it is to discriminate against citizens for centuries cannot in today's world be discriminating against any human being for any reason whatsoever.
So homosexuality will be legal in Barbados, as will gay marriage?
I said that a country that discriminates against people will not do it. That has discriminated against people in the past. But what is more, the government is resolute that marriage is a function of the church. And to that extent, a referendum will be held to allow all parties to determine whether they will speak on the church or not, on the marriage or not. But with respect to civil unions, we believe that that is a function of civil rights. And to that extent, there shall be no discrimination against any person, whether gay, whether straight, whether black, whether white, whether short, whether tall, for any reason in this country. And that is the position of our government.
Prime Minister, it's been a real pleasure to talk to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Christian, this is a really...
Whoa.
Ooh, she told him.
I like her.
Mia Motley.
I like
Yes.
Powerhouse.
Where do we begin? Where do we begin?
That's like our first time being speechless within the first couple of seconds, right? Because it's like you saw that that pause, like, excuse me.
You are inappropriate.
What really is your question there? But in terms of all of that, what do you think on her point about, allowing Barbadians? And I think she speaks for all people in the Caribbean.
And I think Colleen is frozen, but as far as Barbados is concerned, I do not see an issue with a country where the people hold their own power.
Exactly.
I could see why, coming out of slavery, they didn't trust us to be independent. They did not trust us to have our own power. But like, the Prime Minister says, when a family, as a family, we have grown up. The Caribbean overall, we have grown up, and there's no reason why Barbados cannot be independent of the monarchy. And sometimes I think, I'm like, what purpose does a monarchy serve? What is the purpose?
And Diani, that's the part where I don't understand. So this part, the family part, since when are we a family? So if you actually go back and say, okay, with slavery and they were ahead of us and causing afflictions on my ancestors, how in the world am I family to you? To be honest, I don't even understand why they're still a head of state. I understand that because we don't have an army and things like that, that's why you need some type of head of state. But at the end of the day, they have caused afflictions on our ancestors. Let's not forget that. So
and that's a valid point, Victoria, because I even repeated it. I was like, oh yeah, we're a family. I'm like, oh no, we were not a family because I would not enslave my children.
Right.
So that is a valid point. And I'm curious, Geraldine says she loves Mia. Prime Minister Motley was educated London School of Economics, so you should assess the Chinese agenda. And I like that argument, but it's not a reason for us in the Caribbean. We can't operate in fear.
No.
The fear of the Chinese taking over. That means you're not trusting us to make the right decisions for our countries. So I like that idea, Geraldine, but I think we can handle the Chinese, I think, if we were to gain, full independence.
Listen,
but you know what? I think that she's making a good point, because if you look at, I'm not really that well versed on what's happening in Africa, but I know that the Chinese have had they're getting a good foothold in there because they know that Africa is very rich with all the resources that anybody would want. And there's a control situation that's going on. the more that people start to invest in your country is the more that they seem that they will start to own it. When you start owing all this large amounts of money to a foreign country, you know, how are you going to pay back? Payback usually comes in a different kind of way, maybe not in a monetary way, but in a way that they seem to be taking over more control. So I do think that she has a very, very valid concern that a lot of people actually hold that mindset that, you know, they are doing a lot to build up and to make changes and push countries forward, but there's always that agenda that you have to be very careful of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because we love the fact that you're going to come and you're going to help us develop ourselves. We're going to, you know, embrace the job opportunities that you're going to bring, because we know for a fact that, yes, there are many people in the Caribbean who have 8, 9, 10 and up subjects, but there's no jobs available for them. Yes. So if you're coming with the jobs, we will take it, but we're not asking you to take our country over. We're not asking you to step in and rule. Okay. And I think that's the fact of what Geraldine is saying. Like, let's not take our eyes off the real issues that are happening behind the scenes, and let's focus in on it, because we not only in the Caribbean, as Yolandi was saying, in Africa, and one of the main things that they're doing is that they're using that money and that opportunity in order to dangle it in front of all these politicians' eyes and say, yes, we're going to give you. But then at the back end, when it's time to pay back, that's when the problem starts. You know, when they don't have that money up front to pay back. So now what is it that you're going to give to me? What can I get?
I like her quote.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I like her quote where she said, I think it's important to send a message to our young people that is important for them to aspire and be in charge of their own country at the highest level. I believe it's a good move for the fact that it may prevent brain drain. It will prevent our youths, you know, in Barbados and throughout the Caribbean as well, from leaving the country to seek betterment elsewhere. So it's like she's taking care of her home.
Absolutely. You know? I agree with you on that, Hummelin, because we are taught that children should see themselves as windows and sliding glass doors, in terms of they need to see their reflection. They need to see people like them holding, you know, key positions in their country. They need to see more people, you know, serving on different, the judicial, the legislative, all of those branches of the government. We need to see our children, the ones that we're sending to school and who are coming out with those 8, 9, 10 plus subjects. We need to see them being placed and positions opening up for them to fill. And that now tells the other children that are coming up, the younger generation, like, yeah, it's possible. There's a space for you here to have a say in the way that your country is run. And you're not seeing someone that is not, you know, not saying that we're discriminating based on looks. But again, we know that we're talking about a country standing on its own 2 feet in terms of their decision making, their power to invest or to have countries invest in them without losing themselves and their identities. So let's see what some of our viewers are saying. So some of our viewers is like, nope, let's see if Grenada is going to follow. Let's see.
Serafina Kwashi says, I wish the island remains the same. And I think that's a valid point.
What does that mean, though? Remains the same. What does that mean?
Tell us Tell us, Serafina, what you mean that you wish the island state remains the same. Go give us a little bit more detail on that, and we can come back to you. Samantha, hi Samantha. She says that's why persons should take the initiative in being an innovative force to create income in an honest way. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To go back to the point that Serafina had made, I think what she's trying to say is a lot of times when you have an influx of other people coming into an island and making changes, sometimes it changes the character. Sometimes beaches and things get privatized. Sometimes they come in with their own crews to work places, so that you see a lot of construction going on. I noticed this myself when I traveled to Grenada, that there's a lot of like, okay, you would see like a construction crew going on, but you don't see any Grenadian people. It's like a Chinese crew with a whole Chinese construction group working there.
Agree.
So I think that they should have things in place that, okay, yes, we want to work with you. We're interested in bringing our island up and adding more technology and making things better. But there should be things put in place that will put restrictions. Like, if you're going to come in with a crew, 60 or 80% need to be from the island, because we want to give people work. There need to be things that are in place that creates that, because what will happen is that you have these communities that start coming up, and it becomes like an Asian neighborhood in this country. And then only people who are from this community live in this area. It has to be a fine balance. That's all I have to say. And governments need to be very mindful of how they get into these agreements.
And I absolutely agree with you, Landy. And one of the concerns, I'm taking the conversation back a little bit when we talked about the Chinese coming in. And I think we in the Caribbean don't give ourselves enough credit, because we talk about ourselves as if another country or another set of people can simply come in and trick us. And I think what the conversation should surround is, and I think Mia Mottley is a super, super intelligent woman. The conversation should be around corruption, because the Chinese have not tricked us at all. What we have done, or what our leaders have done, is they've lined their pockets. And I saw it in Jamaica, where the leaders, the politicians, they sold our lands to the Chinese for market value, but the money does not make it to the people. So it's not so much about whether the Chinese can trick us. No, we're too intelligent for that. There's no trickery. What's going on is greed and corruption, and those conversations need to be had.
Absolutely.
So like Geraldine is saying, these stipulations should be put in place before any agreements. And I wanted to ask you ladies, in terms of outside investors coming into your country, I can speak on Grenada because I know a lot of, things are happening in terms of education and the hospital system, the medical area. And so if people are coming into our country and invest, should there be a set amount of money? Like, hey, do you want to come to my country and invest? Okay, you know what? You need to invest this amount into our education system. You need to invest this amount in our system.
Infrastructure.
These are the two things that are major, right? In our country. That's what we need the most. Better infrastructure for our hospital. If you're coming to invest, you're not going to take away from us and not give, or not contribute to building something else, right? So that our children could inherit from it as well. So what is your take on that? Should there be, as Geraldine said, some type of stipulation and agreement set in place that if you're coming to invest in someone's country, you have to invest in some of the infrastructures that needs major money flow without losing, right? Without giving it away. What do you think?
I think those things are already in place, Colleen, and I'm only going to speak for Jamaica. Those things are already in place, but the money goes out the other way through corruption. We've seen prime ministers of Jamaica becoming overnight millionaires after selling out our property. I don't think the Chinese are coming in and tricking us and paying us $1 for a land. I know there were like property in Jamaica where the politicians sold it to themselves for $1. And then sold it back to the Chinese for X, and then they pocketed that money. So things are in place. And that is why I mean when I say the conversation has to move off. The Chinese are not tricking us, because I am not going to say some Asian person can trick me. I'm not that dumb. And if I say they're tricking us, that means I would have to say the Mia Mottleys of the world are not intelligent.
Exactly.
And that's not happening. These things are in place. So we can have a conversation about, let's put this in place and that in place. We can put it in place all we want. I remember our highway in Jamaica. Nobody was tricked out of that. There was so much money put into that highway that got robbed by Jamaicans.
Mhm.
And so the Chinese came in and did it, and now we have a highway. The Chinese never tricked us.
Well, let me say
We are tricking ourselves. So I think that's a conversation that we need to have. We need to punish. We need to arrest. We need to put those leaders in prison for robbing from us.
So what you're saying, Deani, is like we have to clean house first. Clean house first before we start inviting people to come visit, right? Let's clean out our house, make sure that it's good, and make sure that when they come to visit, they're bringing, but they're not also taking away your house when they walk.
Absolutely agree. And I won't belabor the point anymore. One of our former prime ministers, he bought homes in Switzerland, our home, after he sold off our property to the Chinese. So people look like, oh, the Chinese stole the land. No, that prime minister man over there, he has the money from the land.
Yeah. Well, there's lack of
and I think we should just make this clear that, just because you want to be independent doesn't mean that even though you're not independent, that these other countries can come in and still buy your land, because obviously there's a lot of countries, including Grenada, that still has the queen as the head of state and still have people coming in buying land. So, it's even if you go independent, if like Deani says, if the government doesn't change, we'll still be in the same predicament. So
understood. Yeah.
Totally agree with that
but
one.
I wish Barbados well. And I love that country. It's one of my
Absolutely.
I haven't been there yet.
I love Cape
to
Verde.
go.
For all my Bajan massive, all my Bajan people, I love Cape Shepherd.
Oh,
every time I visited Barbados, I just love to go in there, go to the mall. I just love the vibe, And I totally wish that what Mia Motley wants to do, that more of our young leaders that are coming up in the Caribbean could take a few pages, a few chapters from her book and follow suit in terms of setting ourselves up to be in positions where we can bring about positive change in our country and not selling it out, to the highest or the lowest bidder. And we're just, giving away our inheritance, right? Because again, really what she's saying is like, all right, we're breaking ties in terms of you got enough from us now. We want to start reaping the benefits of our own labor. We want our people to start reaping the benefits, right, of their labor. And we want to make sure that our children are reaping the benefits. And I would think that more people, more young leaders would come out and step up and have a few more Mia Motleys to come. But kudos to her and Barbados. So Hummy, let me call out Hummelin, the brainchild behind it all. So just give us a rundown or just a brief description of your Caribbean boss babe.
I thought boss.
Before we go to, do we have time? I know you want to go to Boss Babe.
Yeah.
But can we talk about the insult of the question that the journalist asked the prime minister? Should people allowed to be gay? I don't know if we have time to get in that discussion. If we don't, we can move on.
Definitely. Okay, so we're going to give that about 3 minutes because that was a very good point. And we want to make sure that we're giving the boss babes their due
time. All right. So we can skip that one.
Okay.
Kick it off, Deani.
I think we can skip that because I think this discussion needs more than 3 minutes. If anybody was looking, it talked about, and I've always been an advocate for equal human rights in the Caribbean, and I know Caribbean people don't like to hear it. So any platform I go on, if I can't advocate for everyone, I don't want to advocate. And I thought this journalist insulted the prime minister when he asked, should people allowed to be gay? If you did not see the interview, of course, they asked the prime minister about her referendum on voting on not only Barbados leaving the monarchy, but also what her opinions were, because the prime minister has a referendum on gay rights. She's not calling it gay rights. She's calling it equal rights. And I think I am fed up with the Caribbean with how gay people are being treated, or how the LGBT community is being treated. And I want to give my hats off. I think she would be my Caribbean boss babe if I ever had one today. It would be Prime Minister Mia Mottley, because she held the conversation down and saying equal human rights. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. It doesn't matter if you're LGBT or not. Equal human rights. And that little part really, really got my attention.
Yep. It got my attention too. And I do think that that's a topic that deserves maybe a good 15, 20 minutes discussion, because it's very multifaceted, but I loved her position on it, and I loved how she just basically told them, is that inappropriate? Like that question is inappropriate. And she shut it down that way. But I'm really, really looking forward to hearing about this boss babe. So Hermelyn.
Yes,
boss babe.
Oh my God.
I'm wearing my boss earrings just for you guys.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Let me see.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
You have to send me that earring, Landy. I love earrings. Yes. Oh my God, you put me on the spot here. So Caribbean Boss Babe is an idea I just was brainstorming. Like, I see so much Caribbean people just kicking asses on social media. Whether it's me talking about my personal story, whether it's Bunny talking about her success story, whether it's Colleen talking about education, Victoria talking about real estate, and all the other people who are just doing things, making clothes, bags, in beauty and home interior. And I'm like, no, we need to recognize some of these people to just say, keep going. In this time of COVID, you are rising up on social media. So my boss babe is a woman I have been following for over 10 years. I know her from back home. She is a Grenadian. She does live in Canada, and she has been rocking out her business. As she says, she minds her business on social media.
Love it.
She is Najee Creation. She is Najuma James, aka Najee. I admire this lady so much. She really does mind her business. So Najee is a Toronto-based professional interior designer. She does home interior decorating and business and home staging. She's a home staging expert, and she specializes in color psychology. I didn't even know color had a psychology. So, so she specializes in color and palette. And if you see her designs, I really see what she's talking about. She's a graduate from the International Academy of Design. So she have her credentials, and she have 10 plus years in the business. And you can see her. I'm going to post more. You post her link, and you could just go and admire her work. Najee James, you are my Caribbean boss babe this week.
Yes, shout out Miss James.
Shout out Najee.
I totally have my boss babe, and she shouted you out, Hermelyn, with the earrings, because you know what? That's her area of expertise.
I love it.
That is her area. My girl is doing her thing, and when I say humble, guys, I'm saying humble in the most humblest way, shape, or form. So we went to school together. We went to primary school together. We went to the same secondary school. Shouting out Wesley College, okay? We're not on the map. We're about to get there. But Samantha Francis Latouche, sorry, let me not mess your name up. Samantha Francis Latouche. You see the earrings, Hermelyn? You see
yes.
I see the shoes and the handbag.
Yeah. See that? My girl, my boss babe is rocking it out. And she is rocking it out. We are going to share another pic of her later on, and you can go check her page out. It's called Pure Elegance Designs, and it's by Samantha. And you guys have to see, like, the Governor General of Grenada is rocking her pieces, okay? And we're going all the way to the UK, all right? So she has been doing such a phenomenal job. And, you know, in speaking to her the other day, again, like when I say humble, this young lady was talking about, you know, when customers come to her, she asked them so many questions in order to get it so right. She wants to suit their personalities. She wants to make sure that they can get the bang for their buck. She wants to make sure that, hey, you know, you can wear this piece with that piece. She never lets you walk away unsatisfied. And I just love the amazing work she has been doing. Kudos to you, Sammy. Keep doing the awesome things you have been doing. And we're definitely going to, ladies, what do you think about rocking out with some of this pure elegance clutches, Hummy, earrings?
Yes.
And I think to Colleen and Hermie, we should share with our audience the qualities of a boss babe. Because when I think of a boss babe, I think of not only a boss, but somebody who gives back to their community. So let's share with our audience, and maybe they can send us who their boss babe should be. Because each week we will be recognizing. See, Geraldine says a boss babe. Our top 5 are the boss babe. But we should share with our audience. We should definitely share with our audience the qualities of a boss babe, not just doing good in business, but also giving back to their community as well. So go ahead.
Absolutely. And I want to shout out Miss Lydia James. Her daughter is the boss babe. Okay. Hey, mama. Hey, mama. Right. And definitely, I think when we talk about boss babe, I think we don't go without saying, Hummy, and agree with me that we definitely see great qualities. And most of the times, the people that are doing great things in the community is not always seen, right? In terms of the field that they fall into. But I'm telling you, like I grew up with Samantha, and humble person, soft-spoken person, sweet person. And I think these are qualities that, you know, would suit a boss babe totally. And I know Miss Najee James too. She looks like a very fine person.
Yes, very articulate.
All right. So they're definitely, and guys, feel free to send us your boss babes. Tell us about your boss babes. Shout them out. And we don't want to leave the men out, because men do great things too. But shout out the women that are doing all these awesome things. And shout you out, Hummy, for, you know, like creating such a platform that, you know, they can get the recognition that they need, and people could see the great things that our local people are doing, and they're doing a phenomenal job at that.
So I just have one other comment to make, though, is that when we are looking for boss babes, not only are we looking for women who are doing good in business, but it could be anybody who's doing something good in the community.
Absolutely.
Whether it be charitable work, it could be somebody involved in volunteer work or doing something really good for kids. It could be somebody, it could be a teenager in your community that has taken up a cause of their own. Anybody who's Caribbean, I guess we said that a boss babe can be a man or a woman, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think the men won't be happy with that title.
They'll be Caribbean boss.
They'll be a Caribbean boss.
Caribbean boss.
Let's get all our up and coming Mia Motleys and all those powerhouses that wants to bring about change, and it's going to stop at nothing to bring about change in their community and their countries. We shout you out, boss people. We want to shout out all our viewers today for tuning in with us. We love you so dearly. We want to see those flags going out. Show us where you're tuning in from. Let us shout your country out. I love me some Grenadian people. I love the spice. I love the Caribbean. I love all my Caribbean people. We're all spice and boss babies in our own making, right? So we would love, yes, we would love for you guys to come back next Sunday. Tune in with us. Let's have some fun. Let's educate. Let's liberate. Okay, let's bring awareness to everything. And you know what? Send us some topics, guys. What is it that you want to hear? What's happening in your backyard that you want to bring about? We love to hear from you, and we enjoy your company all the time. So see you next Sunday. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Aunt Zilda, for joining.
My Willis people, my New Hampshire people, guys, shout your people out.
Vincy people.
Jamaicans, Yanni, thank you all for joining. Thank you so much.
My cousin Veron, thank you for tuning in again. My boo, my baby Derek, hey, thank you for tuning in.